a seller-focused strategy to really position Coldwell Banker as the ultimate destination for sellers. Everybody is talking to buyers right now. Look at this pretty home, come buy it. Hey, we greet everyone with a search bar to find that home, get them there. What are we really offering sellers? And nobody out there is offering anything specifically unique to sellers.
Welcome to In the Blue Zone, the real estate marketing podcast where difference makers and influencers from around Coldwell Banker discuss how to enjoy success, find inspiration, earn more money, and have fun building a business.
All right, we're here with David Marine. Always a great time talking to David about all things Coldwell Banker. And David has a great story with Coldwell Banker, but we want to let him have the chance to introduce himself first before we get into our interview conversation. So, David, tell us a little about yourself.
Yes, well, good to see you again, Jeff, and talk with you. I feel like we've known each other for probably a good 15 years or so. So Jeff's always been a good guy and a good marketer, so happy to be with you today. Yeah, would you believe this March will be my 20th year with Coldwell Banker? Started as the electronic product manager, which who even knows what that title even means anymore?
It's a great title.
Yes, yeah, I thought that's what attracted me to it. It was like, ooh, this sounds interesting. And it was basically a job where they're like, hey, all this print stuff we're doing, things are moving more digital. We need somebody who can kind of handle that. So claim to fame is first day on the job, I got asked, they put this large binder in front of me and they said, this is a listing presentation. It's the lifeblood of our agent's business, but we need to figure out a way to make it digital. And so I said, oh, you mean like turn it into a PowerPoint presentation? And my boss said, can you do that? I said, yeah. So claim to fame, I created the first ever PowerPoint listing presentation in Coldwell Banker.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
And what year was that?
That was 2002, March of 2002.
Yeah. A lot was happening back then.
Cutting edge stuff.
Cutting edge. Yeah. PowerPoint in 2002 for sure.
Well, so we have a format and and by the way, what's your title now? Did you mention that?
Oh, I'm now a chief marketing officer. So 20 years later, went from electronic product manager to CMO, and I've held roles all across marketing, all with Coldwell Banker over those years, for everything from media to the digital side to product development, social, and beyond. So now they put me in charge of marketing for the brand globally, both the Coldwell Banker brand as a whole, as well as the Coldwell Banker Realty marketing team, and overseeing marketing for Coldwell Banker commercial and global luxury.
And you're based in New Jersey?
I am. I live in Rockaway, New Jersey. I am a mile from the Rockaway Mall. And you're like, oh, that is the most Jersey thing ever. But let me tell you, it is one of the greatest things, living a mile from the mall. There's a Target there, the movie theater. Like, you can look up a movie time. You're like, it starts in 10 minutes. But with previews and everything, we can hop in the car, get over there, get popcorn, and boom, you're good to go. Fantastic. So I really like it. And I do also have 4 boys. I've been married for 20 years as well now to my wife, Tara. I have 4 boys, Logan, Wyatt, Owen, and Cole, which my Italian family likes to refer to as the Midwestern law firm. Everybody else in my family is named Anthony, Vincent, Paul, Nicholas, whatever. And they're like, what is Logan? What kind of name is that? But yes, Logan, Wyatt, Owen, and Cole. Senior in high school, an 8th grader, 5th grader, and a 3rd grader. So very active household outside of work. We're in the midst of basketball season right now, which is fun, but also chaotic.
Love it.
Any pets? We'll be asking that question, I think, often.
No pets. I have 4 animals that are also my children. So no pets yet. Maybe eventually when they start moving away, my wife will want one, but she's in charge of that right now. Like pets. She's like, no, I don't want another thing to take care of.
I got enough going on right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't get pets till mama says you can have pets.
Exactly right. You know it.
Don't bring them home. All right. So our format of something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. Really curious to hear some of your answers on these things. But as far as something old, we talked a little bit about your background, but more specifically, kind of reaching from PowerPoint to now, are any things that you could think of that specifically shaped your career with Coldwell Banker? I think you came into real estate without much of a real estate background, right? So you were learning real estate at the same time you were learning marketing and the brand. Lots of things to learn there on that curve, a journey. So
Oh
anything
yeah.
that's shaped you from the past that you looked back today and
Yes. I think one of the biggest things that shaped me, and I tell the story often, was actually how I got this job. And out of college, I majored in marketing. Growing up, I told people that I wanted to make, when they ask you, when you grow up someday, what do you want to be? And I would say I would want to make television commercials. They're talking doctors, firemen, astronauts, whatever. But I was setting the bar pretty low. I just wanted to make television ads. And so I went to school for marketing, studied marketing out of college. I wanted to be like Don Draper before Don Draper was a thing. I wanted to go to New York City, be an agency ad guy. And I ended up getting a job with a small marketing agency that was focused on the high tech company right out of college. And I loved it because I always loved tech and what's going on there. But this was around 2000, and then 2001 came, and September 11th happened. And I actually closed on my first home that I bought the day before September 11th. So September 10th, I bought a house. September 11th happened. I got married on December 28th of 2001. And then Valentine's Day of 2002, I walked into the office and I got laid off. And I found I was losing my job. So new mortgage, new wife, new house, no job. My wife had just graduated with a master's degree in public speaking, and she was going to take time to kind of find the really right position for her to create her career. And she had to take job answering phones at a local company just so that we had a supplemental income while I was collecting unemployment and searching for jobs. I was unemployed for 2 months, and my parents were like, "We're going to have to like help him sell his house or help cover his mortgage." And it was depressing. And you're like, was 23 years old and I just had all these responsibilities, and then I lose my job. And this is like the worst possible thing that could happen. But now it was actually one of the best things that happened, because I know I would have probably been in that smaller agency for 2, 3, 4 years, and who knows what would have happened from that. But because I lost my job, I was forced to search online, and I came across the job for electronic product manager for Coldwell Banker on hotjobs.com, which doesn't even exist anymore. And I applied for it, and here I am 20 years later. And it just goes to show you that you never know what life is going to throw at you and how that is going to be used to help develop you. And that to me was really one of the seminal points in my life, to know like this was what could have been a really tragic story. I'm probably over exaggerating it on the tragic side of things, but certainly felt that way at the time, to turning out to be one of the best things. And through my time at Coldwell Banker, what I give credit to is the people that were put around me and above me who were always willing to, one, push me, and then also to try something new. So I can recall walking into the head of marketing's office one day, and I said, "Hey, Apple just had this event. They're announcing the iPhone's going to now have this app store thing. I think we should look at creating an app for it." And the response was, go, let's do it. Let's figure out how to get it done. Another time I walked in, I was like, "There's this thing called Facebook, and I think it's probably a space we should be playing in." And it was, go, let's do it. So every step along the way, I've been given opportunity to explore new things and test out things. And that's really been the encouragement to me. And there's so many people that have influenced me, from former President Jim Gillespie,
yes,
who I still text with today because we're both big college basketball fans. And well, especially this time of year around March, we text back and forth about hoops. And he has just been such a positive influence of how to be a leader and to have a position of authority, but still care for people. Mike Fisher, who was head of marketing for a long time, COO, he has been a tremendous influence in how to look at things differently, how to handle conflict, how to put the emphasis on measurement and showcasing your results. And then even just the folks here today, like Liz Geringer and Ryan Gorman as part of the leadership team, and seeing that they each have unique attributes that can help shape you. And I've found that you can be as great a marketer in the world, but if you don't have the right people around you and the right partners, it's going to make your job that much more difficult. So I've been truly blessed to have right folks around me throughout my career, and even staying with likes of Tori Keshin-Jay and Lindsay Listansky, Michael Altnew, and Michelle Walsh, who can help make our brand elevate, but also make my job a whole lot easier because of the level of excellence that they perform at.
That's great. And a lot of those names are just really amazing people in their own right, in their own areas of expertise.
Yeah.
One thing that comes to mind, I'm thinking about what you just were talking about, is I think a turning point maybe, at least my impression of the brand, looking at it, I was on the franchise side for a number of years and then moved to, when we were acquired, to CBR side. And it was the YouTube initiative that came down. I don't think it was like maybe like 2012 or something like that,
Yeah.
2011. And I think you were one of the drivers of that, if not the driver, of really diving into that and saying, we're in the new space to stay. Where we, not only that, but we want to take over the new space from other competing brands and put a flag in the ground. And then right from there, you went right to the TV like with Tom Selleck and the commercials that we had that really took. It was like real estate stuff that didn't exist like that before. It was really the level of quality, production quality, was just not there. And real estate advertising on the internet and on TV. And to me, that was like a turning point, I think. I think you were kind of in the middle of all that, or maybe driving some of that.
I view that as a turning point for the brand as well as my career personally, and just how we approach things. Yeah, the Coldwell Banker On Location is what we called the YouTube channel, and we were the first to launch a YouTube channel that featured videos of homes for sale that you could search right on YouTube.
What a concept.
Put a zip code in. They used to have gadgets on YouTube channels, so you could go right in, you could build your own thing. So we built a customizable map, and you could just search for your area and find videos of homes for sale. But that was really, that was a signal early on that video was going to be a serious player. And I jokingly say this, but there's truth to it as well, is that everything in my career you can probably tie back in some way, shape, or form to sports, comic books, or late night television. And I like to pride myself in looking outside of our industry for influences. And at that point in time, the advent of video, and especially social video across late night television and sports, it was just booming. And this became like, between the iPhone coming into greater prominence at that time and the iPad, it was like, this is a space that we need to be in. I think that has a long-term future. So that's why we wanted to focus on video. And I've been a video troll where I just come out from under my bridge and stomp around and say, like, we need to do more video. But what that YouTube channel really did was every single thing from then, video was a core element. Didn't matter if we were promoting events, if it was training, if it was a marketing program, there was always going to be a video element. I think that that's been the reason why we've been a leader in the video space for more than a decade. And that has also translated well into the advent of social and continuing to look to elevate the quality of the videos that we're producing, and no longer like, hey, let's just not feature these slideshow and still imagery set to cheesy music, but let's do full production HD. And that led into the campaign really changing the conversation in real estate as we wanted to continue to elevate. While everyone was talking about it's a great time to buy, let's talk about really the emotional aspects of home ownership with our Value of a Home campaign, and that had Tom Selleck as the voiceover. And that really started this new feeling of Coldwell Banker, which eventually led into the rebrand today. But we were talking about things and doing things that nobody else within real estate was doing, but we were seeing in other industries. And I give credit to that outside influence that has helped reshape the brand to where it is today.
So looking forward now, something new, right? Always something new on the horizon for us as a brand, which is one of the exciting things about being part of Coldwell Banker, is that you just don't know what they're going to come up with. And springtime or early spring, late winter is the time where, March Madness, usually we've been putting our flag in the ground on something new every year, or doubling down on things that work. What's happened? Tell us something new here.
Yeah, this really is something new. This year, we're shifting the conversation again. So 10 years ago, when we did the Value of a Home, we were talking about the emotional aspects of home ownership when everybody was talking about the financials. And right now, every single competitor out there, aggregator, interloper, whomever, they're all focused on the emotional. So they've all followed suit. This year, I think we're going to take a step in a direction again to once again change the conversation. And the biggest challenge facing our industry right now is listing inventory. And I don't think that's a problem that's going to go away quickly. And no one's going to solve it. And like, in 3 months, that's going to be no longer a thing. So we are looking at a seller-focused strategy to really position Coldwell Banker as the ultimate destination for sellers. Everybody is talking to buyers right now. Look at this pretty home. Come buy it. Hey, we greet everyone with a search bar to find that home, get them there. What are we really offering sellers? And nobody out there is offering anything specifically unique to sellers other than some probably generic rote content that hasn't been updated in 5 or more years. So we have looked at this seller-focused strategy to help move the needle on like uncorking this pent-up demand that we know is out there by focusing first on redoing our online destination of coldbanker.com and really turning that into a seller-focused destination because nobody else is really having that. So we're updating the site with some brand new functionality that'll be rolling out in March. One of the biggest things to me is what's called the move meter that will compare 2 different cities and show you everything from the differences in housing affordability to quality of life to the job market strength and other factors. Nobody else really has this out there. And everybody has, well, not everybody, but a lot of people comparing simply from a financial aspect. But some people ask, well, when you have this tool, is there going to be a city that is always going to look negative when people search for it? And I say, yes, absolutely, there will be. It's called New York City, and it's called Los Angeles, and probably San Francisco, maybe Chicago too, maybe Seattle. But nobody's moving to New York or LA because of housing affordability. They're moving for a lot of other different reasons. So it's all in the eye of the beholder. What the move meter does is it creates a bigger picture beyond just the financial factors of why you may be interested for one reason or another. So really excited about that. We're going to have a CB estimate tool to showcase what your home could potentially sell for by entering an address. And I don't know if you realize this, but every single real estate site out there offers the same functionality. The difference is they all want you to jump through like 35 hoops before they give you the information. It's like, oh, fill out this form. What's your social security number? What's your mother's maiden name? What's your firstborn?
And we'll contact you.
And then we'll spam you for the next 2 years. And you're like, I just wanted to figure out, is my home worth, $350,000 or $450,000? But there's one site that doesn't do that. It's Zillow. And lo and behold, it's the most popular real estate site out there in the world. It gets millions of visitors, but everybody else feels like, no, we can't give that information out up front. We got to capture leads for it. So we are removing all those barriers, and our CB estimate tool is going to give people an estimate for the price of their home. Obviously, we're going to drive them to agents for the most accurate information, but it's really removing those hurdles. And this should now be just like kind of the course of business of having a real estate site out there. And then lastly, Seller's Assurance Program. That's a new umbrella program that we're rolling out, just bundling a lot of the different seller-focused things that we have, like Real Vitalize, Real Sure, Exclusive Look, CBX Buyer Locator, all these things that our agents have at their disposal that can help a seller sell their home at a higher price and in a shorter time frame. And the beauty of it is this is so customizable locally. So if you as an agent are offering something like, well, this isn't a national program, but I have this kind of in my local area, or your specific office is doing something specific for sellers, you can roll that up as, oh, this is part of our Seller's Assurance Program. And the reason why we created this umbrella term is because it's often difficult to explain a seller-focused program in a very short time frame. Try and explain Real Sure in 30 seconds. Like, good luck. It's like, well, it's this thing, and we'll give you an offer, and maybe not, and then you can buy your home, and it's cash, and do you know what that is? Do you know what iBuyer is? So what we're doing is saying, hey, we've got a program that is specific to sellers. Come find out about it. We can drive to our site for more information, and then it now gives the flexibility for our agents and our local companies, franchises, to even use that as well. Someone was talking about in the car business years ago. It was that I forget which car maker it was. Started talking about anti-lock brakes, and they were like, "Oh, they've got anti-lock brakes, blah blah blah." Guess what? Everybody has anti-lock brakes, but they were the only ones who were talking about it and talking about it, how it's the safety protocol and it's the safest car out there, blah blah blah. And I look at that as a way that we're able to do this with the Seller's Assurance Program, is no one is talking about what are the things that we offer sellers. So let's create this umbrella term that allows our agents to customize it to what they specific offer in their local markets, but also has that broad national appeal. So that is all rolling out under a campaign we're calling Dream, to encourage sellers to dream about what's possible, and that with remote work being an option for many, now the world is open for them to be able to live where they want to live and go where they want to go. And so that's going to be rolling out once again on March Madness, which is not only the most viewed television event in the spring during the key real estate time, but it also happens to be the highest rated sports program for the seller target that we're trying to reach. In addition to that, we're also including some PGA championship, which has a little higher household income there, very good for those kind of downsizers market that's looking to move this year, we think. And of course, we'll be across YouTube, Hulu, social, and some cable as well. So we're really excited to roll that out come March 15th.
How can individual agents plug into that as far as connecting their own, day-to-day prospecting or marketing activities, other than just saying like, go to our new great brand website? Like, how do you envision them incorporating that into their narrative with people that in their sphere that they're reaching out to, spring conversations, tax season, whatever, to connect into that? You know what I mean? Like, what's the national to local connection there?
Of course, we'll have customizable assets across the platforms, whether it's BrandServe or Moxie Present, part listing presentation, or Moxie Impress, and being able to send out, HTML templates to your sphere. So we'll have all of that. But what I love about a tool, especially like the Move Meter, is that you locally can start. You can say like, hey, what are the feeder markets? What are the feeder cities to my specific area? And let me go ahead and punch those in and see how the comparison is. And then even let's look at where people are typically moving to from my town as well. Because that's you're looking to get more listings, right? He who owns the most listings owns the market. And so if someone is like, I want to move to Florida, or I want to move to California or Texas or Idaho or wherever it might be, start looking into where are those markets that you know that people may be wanting to go to. And you can start prompting them with, hey, this is one, here's an estimate for your home. 2, here's some of the benefits that you get by listing today if you were looking to move at X, Y, and Z, or even upgrade around town. And just trying to be that advocate, showing that you as the Coldwell Banker agent have more information and more access to resources out there, I think is invaluable. And when you roll in elements like RealSure and RealVitalize that you can offer uniquely, and even CBX Buyer Locator of how you're
I was going to say CBX. This feels a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parallels between this and CBX when it was launched, but it was more about finding buyers, but this is more about sellers. So, but there's a lot of similarities in the groundbreaking aspect of it, I guess. I don't know.
And what do sellers want? They want buyers for their house.
Right.
So
And where they
CBX is kind of filling that void and being able to say like, okay, here's what I can offer you as a seller. Oh, and by the way, I now have this marketing arsenal at my disposal that I can be smarter about how I can connect with the right buyer. And while the market's been fantastic over the last 2 years and really with a boom, you're still wanting to win that listing. And even though you may not be using everything at your disposal, when you walk into that listing presentation table, it's going to set you apart of showing, hey, this other guy's just come in, he's going to slap a sign in the yard and say like, hey, give me the money. You're able to at least showcase, here are the ways that I can be smarter about this that no one else has, and I'm doing things that no one else can match.
It's pretty exciting. Makes me look forward to next month.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm already looking forward to March Madness, but now for a second reason.
Absolutely. I mean, March Madness is one of my favorite times
Me too.
of the year. And I typically like to take a half day on the Friday of the first weekend of the tournament, block out a vacation day just so I can, watch all those games, have one on my iPad, one on the laptop, one on the TV screen. It is the most exciting sports day of the year.
Do you know the date it starts?
The tournament, I think it's March 15th is the first 4 games. And then that weekend is when it gets into the round of 64.
Cool.
Exciting.
All right. So Something Borrowed. Looking forward to hearing this. And this, we are typically looking for things that you draw from, right? Because you want to fill up your energy and maybe, share with your teams to cast vision in the role you're in now, and so you've got to draw from outside of your own experiences and look for new paradigms to pull in from. You mentioned like Mike Fisher's background with numbers.
Yeah.
I think at one point was that's something that you come to as a marketer, like, everything that's measured improves, to quote the ex-owner of GoDaddy. And, those type of paradigm changes, right? But what things do you pull from today? It could be books, podcasts. We always love hearing about other podcasts we can throw out to our listeners that they can tap into. Anything that's feeding you.
Yeah. I am not a huge self-help book reader. I know that's like a popular thing to do about self-improvement. I don't know what that says about me, but
there's probably a book about that.
I love to read fiction. And I love to read science fiction, especially because I think that one, it stretches your imagination a little bit. So I do enjoy the Dan Le Batard Show, sports podcast. That's when I read,
I love Dan Le
listen
Batard.
to. I'm a big fan of Snacks Daily, which is from Robinhood, and I'm not a financial guy by any stretch, but I came across them right before the pandemic started and really got interested because they were talking about financial news in a fun and entertaining way. And I think when you can add that type of element into anything that you're doing and make it interesting, all of a sudden it's going to draw more people to it. So I get influenced by them. I already talked about how sports and comic books and late night TV all influences that I like to borrow
You
from.
didn't mention Star Wars, by the way. I'm surprised.
Oh yeah, well, Star Wars is that's part of the triumvirate of sci-fi, Star Wars, Marvel, and Harry Potter that I love to reference, and probably in every presentation there's some sort of reference to one of those three at some point in time. But I like all that stuff. But I would say if you look at something borrowed from a career standpoint, Gen Blue experience was something that I definitely borrowed from a lot of the different places that I've already referenced. It used to be called the International Business Conference, which makes you fall asleep just saying that. And we wanted to reboot it about 10, 12 years ago. It's like, how do we get more people interested in it? How do we make it more entertaining? And I walked into Mike Fisher's office when we were going through this, and I said, I know this is going to sound crazy, but can I go to Comic-Con in New York and get some ideas for how we should do trade show, how we should run events, whatever? And he's like, absolutely. I think the tickets were I even got them for free or something. And so I went into Comic-Con and looked at how do they approach things differently? What are some of the interactive experiences that they draw from? How are they promoting it online? And borrowed a lot of that, and even from late night television with like, hey, can we do something fun and interesting as part of like an intro video to kind of just like loosen things up versus it being all buttoned up suits. We removed ties from being on stage and just like made it a little bit more down to earth and able to connect, made more social focus. So I think that from a career standpoint is one of the biggest things where I borrowed a lot of different elements from. And a number of the speakers that we've had over the years have come from, I just came across them either online or I saw them being interviewed on a late night show or a video was being shared on social about it. So Gen Blue Experience has definitely been the place where I've borrowed the most.
That's great. We did hear a story from the canon somewhere else in Coldwell Banker that you were known for or had been caught cutting someone's tie with scissors.
Oh yeah, we did hear that.
So no, it was, yes, there was a bet with Matt Case back in the day when he was with Coldwell Banker Schmidt. I think it was Gen Blue New Orleans, and they set me up. It was a joke that like, hey, there was no ties at Gen Blue, and so they're like, hey, I'm going to show up with a tie, and we're going to record you. We're going to record a video, and you're going to spot me, and then you're going to come over, and then you're going to run and cut off my tie. So they set me up for it, and I think I was doing the interview with Sean Carpenter, and we see him, and so I run over, and lo and behold, he's wearing a Mets tie, and I'm a huge Mets fan, and they knew this, so they set me up perfectly, and they were going to make me cut the Mets tie. So gag was on me. It was great job by the both of them in setting that up. But yes, and I think I even have the cut tie in one of these boxes around here somewhere. But yes,
you couldn't let it go. He's Mets,
That's
right?
cool.
Exactly.
That's funny.
It's funny.
We didn't know that part of the story.
That's
No, this is great. We're connecting different stories here. All right, great. So then Something Blue. I mean, wow. Where do you go with that? I mean, you are Mr. Coldwell Banker. So
everything blue.
What would you, what are the things that you would, I mean, we've already talked about a lot of this stuff about the brand but I don't know, what's something that you would leave for the listeners, Coldwell Banker wise, that you'd encourage them to do or think about or change their business or change their mindset in 2022 when it comes to the brand? Viewing the brand, I'm at Coldwell Banker or wherever. What does that mean to me? I don't know.
I've always loved the idea of your name next to ours is really what creates the value. And what's shocking in real estate is that you'll go to an event and you'll speak to a number of 100 agents, 1,000 agents, Gem Blue, 5,000 agents, whatever it is, and everyone in the audience is a competitor. You're all trying to get the same people to work with you for the real estate needs, but yet there is a camaraderie around it as well, and everyone is in the business for a different reason. Everyone brings a unique perspective, and maybe it's even a different customer base that you're connecting with. And I think that's what makes it special. But when you look at your name next to Coldwell Banker, there's oftentimes it's like, well, it's got to be one or the other. And that's not the case. It's when you put them both together that really that's where the power comes from. You are excellent in this specific area as a person, but the Coldwell Banker brand can elevate that and help you expand, whether it's in scope from a national standpoint to having a global voice in the marketplace, or to helping you educate yourself and grow your business in the areas where you're lacking. And obviously, the reverse is true, is we're only as good as our agents are too. And we want to make sure that we are continuing to raise the standard of excellence. It's one of our core values, that we're able to continue to pursue this longevity that we've had. I mean, we've been in real estate for 115 years. And I say we haven't just survived, but we continue to succeed. And when you look at the Fortune 500 list 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and how many companies are still on it, they're all gone by the wayside. But yet here we are, a real estate brand that has survived for now entering our 116th year. So look at how you can utilize what Coldwell Banker has to offer, whether it's our global luxury program, whether it's our training, to help fill the needs that you specifically have in your local business. And if you haven't done so already, start looking into video.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's a really good point. I feel like one of the main reasons that I get proud to be, working for Coldwell Banker is I'll go into offices sometimes and they're so excited to have that camaraderie with each other, and like support each other because they're so proud and confident in the brands that they're just excited to lift each other up and have that. And I love seeing that. I mean, it's really just impressive, and it makes like a very specific special agent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, this has been great, David. Really appreciate your time. And we're looking forward to the Dream campaign and all that comes around that. And we hope that we have you back on again sometime.
Absolutely. Anytime you need me, Jeff, happy to do it. Madison, Elizabeth, good to see you guys as well. Thanks for having me.
All right.
All
You
right.
too.
Thank you. All right. So that was great. Hearing from David Marine. What did you guys think?
Yeah, that was awesome. Always
Yeah.
great insight from him for sure. I was excited to talk to him, and I think that was a really awesome kind of one-on-one or three-on-one that we had with him just now.
Yeah, I really liked him I think toward the beginning when he talked about something old, and he said, I don't know if it was under something old, but he talked about Coldwell Banker always kind of pushing the envelope and being on the cutting edge, doing the first to do PowerPoint, that kind of thing was funny but true. And I actually resonated with that because I feel like that's why I came to Coldwell Banker, because I wanted to be pushed. I wanted to be someplace where I knew it was going to stretch me and push me, and I'm pushed and stretched every single day, but it makes you a better person. And I think that's one of the best parts of the Coldwell Banker community. And I'm really glad he pointed that out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was inspired from the story, honestly. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Definitely one of the main takeaways from me was when he was bringing up the Dream campaign, and he kind of prefaced it by saying, a couple of years ago they were really starting to push, or we as a company were starting to push, the emotional side of buying a home and selling a home, and what that kind of means, and they were pushing that kind of marketing, and then other companies followed suit, and so now they wanted to do something different as well and kind of set the tone for the rest of the market. And I mean, they're not doing away with that emotional side, but they're kind of transforming it for sellers. And I thought that was such a smart way to obviously he has his job for a reason, but it's I thought that was a really, really cool way, and I felt like really innovative in the market.
Yeah,
that's good to see how that all unfolds.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got from it too, is the whole theme of it was just Coldwell Banker being innovative in everything. And then when I had heard something about this seller focused campaign and website, But when I heard him explain it, I really realized that this really is, it's cutting edge. It's not, and nobody else is doing it. And it is really resonating. Listing agents right now, or agents in general, are just struggling for inventory. And so why not create a website and a marketing plan and put it out there during March Madness and make it targeting sellers, especially in this day and age where we are right now, where a lot of people are working remotely and they can work anywhere. And there's so much more of that. And they want to move out of crowded cities, and maybe they want to go to the beach. Maybe they want to go to Lancaster County. Maybe they want to go to the suburbs of Philadelphia or something like that, or anywhere. And they truly can live anywhere, and they can start to dream about that, as opposed to dreaming about, your first home, but you're dreaming about being somewhere else. And I thought that was, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing that campaign roll out.
Yeah, when he made that like that point, or like that alignment to what the car company that was
Yeah.
like advertising, what was it, like non
ABS for anti-lock brakes.
yeah, and so and like everyone kind of had that, but only they were talking about that. So I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. Like obviously everyone can help a seller. Like if you're an agent, technically you can help a seller, but let's talk about like how good we are at doing it. Like, let's push it, you
Yeah.
know. Like, and they'll think that we're the only ones that can do it. I thought that was such a smart way to go about that.
I had the thought during that because I remember when I was an agent, people were at that time, the syndication was a term, right? And, data was being shared, and the MLS wasn't really good at it. So they would share it with companies like ListHub, and ListHub would then syndicate it out to Zillow or other emerging, like Realtor.com and stuff like that. And I remember one time I was in a living room with a seller, and I was kind of making my way through my presentation, which was not polished at the time. And the seller said to me, well, so-and-so from the other company says they're going to put their stuff on my house on the internet. And you haven't mentioned that. And I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I think that's what they're talking about, syndication, which everybody has, and so that's like normal. But I hadn't actually explained that to her as a benefit, and so this other agent was literally just taking what they already happened automatically and then claiming it as a benefit for themselves. And I kind of learned a lesson that I never forgot. I was like literally like 15 years ago or something. But it was like, you've got to sell the bacon, don't sell the bacon, sell the sizzle. And and that's something that's kind of stuck with me all these years. And even something as boring as MLS data syndication is sizzle to a seller. So
Yeah, how many websites you're going to be on? Like, you're going to be on the same websites everybody else is on, but you have to say it, right? Right.
I
The
think
other
that's
thing that I really liked about what he talked about, that I do think is unique to the Coldwell Banker climate, is your name next to ours. Like, the Coldwell Banker brand is there to support you in your business and give you tools and things like that. But we're very big on you building your own brand, you building your own niche, and Design Concierge obviously can help you do that. But I love that he talked about that. And I don't know if there's another company out there that really encourages you to develop your own brand next to ours, and not just push the Coldwell Banker brand. Like, we'll push the Coldwell Banker brand, and that'll help lift you up too. But we encourage you to differentiate yourself, and we encourage you to create your own brand and your own distinction, and we'll even help you do that. So I thought that was great.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not that this is like a huge marketing point, but I was smiling when he said that he got a lot of the Gem Blue ideas when he went to Comic-Con. I thought that was a really interesting story. I was like, wow, oh my gosh. It got me thinking, like, it's so true. Like, when I go to a hockey game, the Flyers game, for instance, it's like it's an event. You're not just there for a hockey game. You're there for like the lights and like every like 5 seconds there's a new kind of entertaining thing happening. And I feel like that's kind of the same kind of umbrella what he was talking about, of having this event where it's not called, what would they call it, the business conference,
business
International
conference.
Business, IBC. I remember that.
International Business Conference.
So I mean, I just had no idea that he had his hands in transitioning and how we came together as a company.
But there's a lesson in there, right? So the lesson is, you're an agent or branch manager or somebody in a capacity within Coldwell Banker. Don't just think in terms of the four walls that you think you're being locked into by your job title or your current day-to-day responsibilities or what you think you can do. Like I think one of our guests said something along the lines of, find rules to break, or go and
Make
go
mistakes. Make mistakes. Sean Carpenter said that. Make
yeah.
mistakes.
So,
Often.
find an area like, for David, it was like, well, what if I just go to a totally different industry that has the feel that I kind of want to get in my business, right? And so I go find out what makes that tick. What's the colors they use and the graphics. And I remember when Gen Blue came out, it was kind of like totally different. I mean, it was like neon lights and pinks and purples in the coloration of things, and the fonts were totally different than I'd ever seen before in a company, any company. I've been in a bunch of big corporations in my career, nothing ever like that. Very soft, very energetic. It was a different feel. It was Comic-Con, really. But for your own business in whatever town you're working in, go see what other things are happening that you can appropriate your branding, your energy, and that differentiates yourself. I remember when I first started as a real estate agent, I didn't even realize, after being in sales jobs my whole career, what I was doing, because I ended up in an industry with 1,500 competitors in one county.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, whoa, what did I just do to myself? I mean, I had industry before with 10 or 15 competitor sales rep wise, but now I have, 1,500. Differentiation gets harder really fast. And so, like you said earlier, we're really big fans of agents having their own brands because of that exact idea, that it allows them to channel their own energy, their own passions, partner with Coldwell Banker and those things, and there's no overlap problems for us there.
Yeah.
So that's actually
And
really exciting.
generally that just kind of falls along the same lines of getting outside of your own business, whether it's listening to other realtors, listening to other real estate professionals, listening to podcasts that don't have anything to do with real estate, or going to Comic-Con or whatever you do. Like getting outside of your day to day and learning something from somebody else. In a way, that's what this podcast is about. It's about bringing you different ideas and stretching your brain, and hopefully you take something out of that and you say, hey, I found something I can apply today. I talked to somebody I wouldn't have otherwise talked to in my workday, and I learned something outside of my usual circle.
Yeah, even for myself, I think that, I mean, the way that David kind of pulls from other industries and other little parts of the world, I guess, and just life in general, and applies them to what he wants to build. I thought that was really awesome. And I mean, that's not just for your business, that's just like for really life in general as well. And that's something that I'm definitely going to take away from that interview.
I'll never be a Mets fan though, David. I'm sorry.
Yeah, agreed.
Not going to happen. Phillies all the way.
I'll cut the Mets.
You'll cut that out? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been a great episode, and we look forward to bringing you guys another guest the next time. So be sure to tune back in, look for the updates, and if you want to get these email updates, go ahead and fill out the form in the show notes and follow our podcasts. Thanks, everybody.